Hello, everyone. I am Erica Kareem, and I am your host of the Starting Over Now Summit. I am so excited because we're in the days now where we are starting over. We're not in those days where we are just letting things happen to us. We are just going with the flow. And some of us really need to know, how do you really start over from divorce or marriage or grief or separation, just to try to get ourselves to be more powerful, more loving ourselves more self-care. So it's so important that with all these dynamic speakers, that we really listen to them, get those jewels and those nuggets on how can I start over right now, no matter what we go through, as long as we have breath in our body, that we can start over and move forward and be successful. So today I have the honor, the pleasure to interview this most powerful, dynamic speaker, Kim Cannon. Kim, thank you so much for
Thank
coming on
you.
here with me this morning.
Thank you for having me, Erica.
Well, I want to ask you, tell everybody who you are and what you do.
I'm Kim Cannon. I work in palliative care with families and clients, patients with their transitioning and their spiritual health involved in that. And I work with at youth, pretty much at youth girls and women, young adults, um, single moms.
Oh, that is so wonderful. That has got to be so inspirational and powerful, especially when you are, they say that you may not be that far ahead of somebody to try to help somebody else and reach back and pull them up.
Exactly.
There's a saying that the fifth grader is king to a third grader. So you don't have to be in the 12th grade in order to learn something from somebody. You actually can be a fifth grader is is king to a third grader. So we don't have to be that far ahead of somebody to reach back and teach them. So
Exactly.
Kim, tell everybody, why did you decide to join the Starting Over Now Summit?
I really wanted access to join and access to other women and to let them know that they're not alone. When the throes and the grips of my pain, I'm sorry. Oh, when I was in the grips of my pain, I thought I was alone. And so this was an opportunity for me to tell and share with other women that you're not alone.
You know what? That is so crazy that you said that. It's so amazing that you said that. Because I went through the same thing. I'm like, I'm not telling nobody nothing. I'm in this by myself. And
Hmm.
then when you learn, when you open up, other people be like, hey, I'm going through that too. Hey, I went through that too. And you just, as a woman and being alone, you feel like, ain't nobody went through this. Ain't nobody going through this. It's only me. Woe is me, right?
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
so tell everybody your story.
Well, I'm the fourth of five. Challenging childhood raised by a single mother. Um, Constantly in the fight or flight mode, always defending something at some time or another. Um, if it's an issue that has come up, I've either been a part of it personally or very closely influenced by it. Became a mother as a teenager. Uh, my I was beaten and left for dead. Uh, Permanent eye injury from that. Little did I know at that time I was pregnant with my second son. I wasn't supposed to survive the beating. However, we both did. He's a father now and doing well. And then with my third son, I had him on December 31st of 93. He passed away from sudden infant death on January 19th of 94, 19 days old. Um, February 14th, I went in for my 6 week checkup. I was pregnant with my fourth son. And by March 15th, my relationship was over. 17-year long relationship was over. He walked out, never returned. So I went through that pregnancy alone and raised my children. So it's been a rocky battle. Um, and it just, you just got to keep going and get there.
Absolutely. So, after you said you was in a 17-year relationship, he comes in, he walks out on you, and then how did you be like, I'll forget this. I got to get myself together. Or in the beginning, you was like, what the hell? No, the hell he didn't. What was your first reaction?
I don't even know the first reaction, but it was just because I had the hormonal things from being pregnant, having a baby, to being pregnant currently, and then we had a housing situation, so I had to move with two children and pregnant with, which would be the fourth son, and move a whole house full of furniture and struggling trying to figure out how to do that. So I kind of went on autopilot. There was no healing going on at that time. It was just a lot of anger and a lot of emotion and not knowing what to do. So it was pretty much autopilot at that point.
Absolutely. Now, then fast forward, you raise your children. Did you have to raise them by yourself or was
I
he in and
did.
out?
Oh no, he was see you later, sister. That was pretty much it.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So
So, um when we break up and we don't have our spouses anymore, do you think that did you do you think that your boys had an attitude with the father? Do you think that that really helps with anger issues, you think?
I think actually my boys have an attitude with me.
Oh, with you.
Um, with
Okay, okay.
me. We have some issues there, where I think mom gets held responsible for quote unquote holding on to dad. Where you can't change people in places that you can't do that. So people want to go, and I think that they kind of come up with an idea of what life would have been like, and it's just that idea. Life would not have necessarily been any different, or maybe even have been worse. But we come up with that idea of what it would have been, should have been, and being raised by a single mother, I think makes it hard for boys,
Right.
especially.
Yeah. And then did you say that the daddy is around a little bit or he just gone?
They know him. They have a relationship with him now. All my children are adults now, and they have a relationship with him now. But it was never any. We didn't bash. We weren't going to do that.
Right, right. No,
However, I'm not so sure it wasn't on the other end of that, but it will let that go.
right. That's just how it
But yeah,
goes. It's like I can be the bigger person and not bash, but then you never know what's going on that other side.
yeah.
I do understand. Absolutely. So what do you think now that all of this is your sons are grown, and what would you tell your 25-year-old self if you were right now talking to yourself about what you've been through? What would you tell her?
I think it would be to take better care of myself personally. I thought that if I just, this is going to be a little controversial, I think, is that your kids come first, your kids come first, your kids come first, your kids come first. And now I'm not saying that you should go out and get your nails done if your kids don't have food on the table, but you have to replenish you in your soul, in yourself, or else you're feeding your kids something that's not nutritious. You're giving from an empty cup. And for me, I had five. So then I'm giving and giving and giving. And there wasn't anything in me to give. And so I had to stop and realize that I had to put some more into me in order to give to them.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna be the first to high five you. Look, virtual high fives, because I don't think that's what did you say?
Controversial.
Controversial, because here's the thing is that when you've been through it, I mean, you done been in those trenches. You actually know that I don't have anything else to give to you. I don't have
Hmm.
anything else to give to nobody until somebody pours something into me. And how about everybody's living their own life? So nobody's going to come pouring anything into me. So I got to do it myself.
You got to do it yourself.
I
And
gotta
that's
learn
it.
me myself. I gotta see what makes me happy myself. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So I'm so glad that you said that because majority of the ladies that I've interviewed is saying the same what you're saying. Only thing
Yes.
is why it would be controversial if it's a younger person never been through it before. You know,
Right.
and we become the matriarchs of our families. We become the all this, the super mom. One day I was like, you know what? I don't want that title no more. Take that cape off
Exactly.
of me.
Exactly.
Take it off, and I mean right darn now.
Yeah. So there's definitely self-care. And that can be, anything from walking in the grass barefoot. If that's what you need to just take a minute and just do that, then you need to do that to refill, calm down, breathe, whatever it is that you need to do to bring yourself back. Because then it builds resentment. You're giving everything you've got, and it's not being appreciated on the other end because it doesn't hold that nutritional value. And it's like, hey, I'm still hungry. I still need. So yeah, you have to take that time to replenish and seal up those holes in the bottom of your cup so then you can feed out the overflow instead of feeding out the bottom.
Yeah. So what do you say for those people that okay, Valentine's Day is tomorrow, and now did you ever get remarried or start dating anyone or anything?
I did, and that's a whole nother
That
story.
okay.
But yes, no, not currently involved. But what it was is I had to take time for myself, literally, like stop dating, stop it all. I had to focus in on me. And so for Valentine's Day, it's kind of a non-entity, because when you're feeding yourself, and I had to push past the uncomfortable times. I had to go to the movies myself. If it was something I wanted to see and didn't have a date, I had to go. And now, actually, I enjoy it. If someone's like, "You want to go see this?" It's like, "No, I don't want to, but I want to go by myself." So, you
Really?
yes, you
Okay.
you learn to love you and spend time with yourself, and that way, and you push past, and it's uncomfortable. It's not the first time I did it. I thought everybody in the restaurant was looking at me. First time I went out to eat, thought everybody was looking at me. They weren't paying me no attention at all. But you just learn to spend time with yourself and love on yourself. And so then all that other, the other stuff is extra. It's just gravy.
Yes, I just love this conversation, and I love your wisdom because at some point it's always somebody out there looking for someone else to have that the joy ride or the movie or the dinner, right? And it's
Hmm.
okay. What you're saying is it's okay to give ourselves permission to just go by ourselves sometimes.
Yep,
Go have a drink by yourself. Go, you'll maybe meet somebody while you're out, or
exactly.
go do something by yourself. So that is so wonderful.
Yes, if it brings you joy, then just go and replenish that way. And
Yeah.
that's what I do.
And I want to just say that because you said if it brings you joy, at some point, a lot of people don't even know what their joy is. They look on the outside of what they wish or what they desire, or because the Joneses down the street is doing it. But sometimes everybody just don't want the same joy. So we have to figure out what that joy mean. Like, a lot of people want a Mercedes Benz versus a Honda. But guess what? That Mercedes Benz may have $1,000 a month payment. I'm just saying it may, or $700 a month
Right.
payment. Where your Honda may be 300, you call it a day. It got less gas. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And in learning what your needs or things that you don't need are, is to not get caught up in the titles of things and enjoy or what's toxic. That's kind of what's going on and what's toxic. And like, peanuts aren't toxic to me. I can eat peanuts, peanut butter all day long. But if you're allergic to peanuts, then they're toxic to you. So once you
Right.
discover what your toxic is, then you have to acknowledge that and say, hey, this hurts. and get and start making a plan or whatever you need to do to stop being in that toxic environment or whatever it is that's hurting you.
I love that you said that. It's like what's toxic to you may not be toxic to me. And so that's why I tell people all the time, you have to really, really understand your boundaries because everybody has different
Exactly.
boundaries. Everybody have different definitions of love and happiness. You know, they just have different foundations and a vision for their own life.
Mm-hmm.
So once you realize, okay, this is my boundaries, this is my vision, then I won't even allow you close to me because we absolutely have different things going on here. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And acknowledge that and take care. That's self care. So you just have to bring that in and take care of yourself. It's not selfish. We were, a lot of us as girls were, it's selfish. It's selfish. This is selfish. Don't be selfish. And so we kind of got locked into that. But, you have to take care of yourself and be in that soulful manner, selfful, and take care of yourself in order to feed out to the rest.
I totally 100% agree. And we have a lack of that in our communities because even as children 6 and 7 years old, we play with baby dolls, so
Yes.
or we're learning how to cook with our moms and be nurturers and be, caretakers and all these things. And so we know how to go um help, be a supporter, you know what I'm saying? Be somebody's
Exactly.
guidance, but we don't know a lot how to guide ourselves in certain ways, and look inwardly for what we need or what we want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I'm gonna ask you something. You may be like, I don't know, but let's do a fun game. What is your favorite food?
Um, I don't know. Maybe it's anything seafood. I like seafood.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. And then
I'm a
once
crab boil kind of girl.
Okay, and so do you have a favorite crab boil place where you're at that you'd be like, "Ooh, I want to go to that restaurant"?
There's several, but there's Joe's Crab Shack. I'm in Sacramento, so yeah, there's Joe's Crab Shack here, and they're pretty good.
Okay, do you have a favorite color?
Used to be red all day, every day. Now it's green. I'm having a love affair with green and I
Really?
yes, I don't know what that's about, but I'm just going with it. I'm just going
Okay.
for about 2 years now. It's been this green. I cannot get enough green. So
Okay, so I got another question because I have 7 children. I know you don't have to tell us which one, but is it one of your children that you would say, I want you to make the decisions over me and my body if I go into the hospital, and this other one, hell no, I don't want them to make no decisions. Well, wait a minute, I can say that because my children knows out of 7 which one
mine know
I'm good
too.
with, right? But them other ones, I'm like, oh heck no, I don't want them making
Absolutely.
no decisions over me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And they are very aware of it as well.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yep, yep.
Yes. And the ones that I would say not to put in charge would be the ones pushing the other ones ahead. They don't want it. They don't want that responsibility anyway. They're like, here, you
Okay.
you do that. I don't want any parts of that. So it works out. It works out.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That is so funny because when you have children, it's like we need to make it very clear. Okay.
Yes.
If something happened to me, don't you even think about making a decision.
Yes. Indeed. Like
Right. So tell everybody what's next for you. So do you will you be working on something online? Will you be working on a book? Do you have a book? What do you want for your next steps?
Um, have been working on a book, but this is the first that's been spoke out. Um, but yeah, just more working with the women in the community and really teaching girls their value and working with them more close. I'm trying to.
Are you
I
treading
just,
lightly?
I am. I just want,
Why?
because I want girls to know their value without being negative with guys at this point. But I just want them to know their value,
Yeah.
and when they're be starting off in life and dating and whatnot, and so that they can just acknowledge and say, hey, I'm more valuable than what you may be offering. I deserve better. I deserve more. And so that's what I would just like to work, and do work with that further.
I love that you said that because we don't our value until we have a vision for where we're headed, right? And so I met so many people that says love sidetracks them, right? And that's what
Yes.
happens. Like when you start, I'm gonna be honest with you and really transparent. Once you start having sex when you're a teenager, it's like all your damn gone marbles. You
Yes.
lost all your marbles, right?
Yes.
And you think that that's love, and you just can't think, you know.
Exactly.
And
Been there,
so
done that.
okay, I think we all have. I think we all have. Um,
Yes.
so it's just a matter of what is the vision for each of them's life. Like they have to see past right now because, to be honest with you, some of those teenagers are in a shit storm right now. They parents
Yes.
ain't right, parents on drugs, parents may not come home. Siblings may be bullying them. You already get bullied when you go to school, but now I come home to this stuff too. CPS might be involved. I mean, our teenagers these days is going through. Some of them are going through hell, while some of them think they're going through hell, but they just got a regular family.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
and
But it's
so
just your mind is so young and you're just not able to process yet. And my children, I don't have, toot my own horn here for a minute, but none of my sons had any children in high school, anything like that. We didn't have any teenage pregnancies because they were taught and instructed from a very early age to be responsible for their portion, that goes in with teen pregnancy and whatnot. And so I think our boys also need to be taught to be more responsible. That's not a girl's responsibility, that you are responsible for you.
absolutely, absolutely. Um, I'm gonna send this replay to my daughter because my daughter had a baby at 16. I sent her to school. She went right out that back door and then got pregnant. Okay.
Hmm.
Needless to say, she's going to law school now. My grandbaby is 12, but it's the principle of um us parents, like you just said, us parents not really well equipping our children for the possibilities of what could happen. I sung it, I taught it, I drilled it, but sometimes our children they don't get the picture. And it
Exactly.
could be because my daughter always say, well, I was just misunderstood, you know. And it's because I was drilling it into her. And I think what happened was I was talking at her and not to her. And that's what happens to us as parents. We're like, don't do this, don't do that, you can't do that,
Right.
instead of educating at the same time. I was just like, don't do
Yes.
that.
Right. And moms get a lot of grief from what decisions your children make that aren't necessarily the right decisions at that time for them. But we're not the only influence. Everything is affecting our children now, and so they're like, "Mom, I don't know nothing."
Right.
So,
Mom, right. She don't know
no, I
nothing,
don't listen
right.
to mom. That's just
Yeah.
mom. She's supposed to say stuff like that. So there's other influences. So,
Yeah, absolutely. So this was so good, Kim. Thank you so much for coming on
thank you for
with
having
me.
me.
Yes.
Thank you
So,
so much.
any last remarks? Because I want people to, if they're going through this Valentine's Day alone, what do you tell somebody?
To just hang in there. If you're in a bad spot, just start. If today you can just take a shower, then just do that. Maybe tomorrow you can take a shower and wash your hair, but just start. And the day that you don't feel like doing it, get up and do it anyway. Just 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 one step at a time, and treat yourself like somebody you care about, somebody you love, like you would treat your loved one. Treat yourself. Give yourself a little bit of that
Oh, I
first.
love that. Yes.
First.
Yes, that is so, so good. All right, y'all. Y'all heard it from Miss Kim Cannon, and thank you so much. Listen, you all, if you all are wanting to speak to us in the chat, make sure that you go to that link and register your name so we can see you as you come in and as you post your comments. Again, I'm Erica Kareem. I am the host of Starting Over Now Summit. Starting Over Now Summit. Go to startingovernow.com so that you can register so that you can get the replays. All right, Kim, thank you so much,
Thank you so much.
and we'll talk soon. Bye,
Bye.
everyone.